going on in Dallas? Good Wednesday morning. And what a Tuesday night it was, one melding into the other. Just to recap real quick before we head into the NFL. In the last week, you may have heard the greatest golfer maybe ever endorsed President Trump. Maybe the greatest basketball player ever endorsed Joe Biden. But the Golden Bear, Jack Nicklaus, and the King, LeBron James, not to mention me, you, Key J, and everybody in the world, waiting to see who will win the 2020 presidential election. Key, you always like to ask, so what'd you do last night? I think we pretty much
you
all...
don't sound like me, man.
So, Key, what did you do last evening?
Nothing. I'm in Bristol, Connecticut.
We all are.
Well, yeah, actually, we all are. I was going to say I'm in Bristol, Connecticut because I drove up yesterday because we had to come up here to do our show this morning because they wanted to test out the studio. And so, I'm here and I just basically stayed at the hotel and that was it, really. Nothing special. Little television, little election, and that was pretty much it.
Jay, no sports last night to watch.
No sports last night. Stood in line for an hour and a half to vote. After I voted, I then came back because I had multiple people come up to me without a mask and want to talk about sports. And poured a big glass of Yamasaki 18 and just kind of watch the election on multiple networks as if I was watching Sunday NFL football.
Okay.
That's what I did.
We'll wait to see what happens with the election. But speaking of the NFL, we got week number 9 of the season getting underway tomorrow. Packers 49ers, a rematch of the NFC Championship game. Right now, the Cowboys need a telescope to see the NFC Championship game. A reminder, this team hasn't been to the Super Bowl in 25 years. They started with Dak Prescott, lost Andy Dalton, had to go to Ben DiNucci. Didn't work out well, as you heard at the top of the program, against the Philadelphia Eagles in his debut with the world watching on Sunday Night Football. They'll get the Pittsburgh Steelers on Sunday, football's only undefeated team. Jay Willer won't early. I got a great betting stat for you in just a second.
Ooh.
But Jerry Jones, as you might expect, what do you think about Ben DiNucci? He said this on Shan and RJ 105.3 The Fan in Dallas. I mean, what do you expect when a guy goes from the CAA, that would be the Colonial Athletic Association, the CAA to the NFL, from James Madison University to America's team?
Well, I think that it was a lot for him. I think we certainly, as a team, paid the price to have him come in and under those circumstances, and that's almost right. It was frankly more than he could handle. I don't know what you could have expected for somebody to come in under those circumstances.
Again, 2 picks, 4 sacks. Jay, here's the stat. Key will get your thoughts. The Cowboys are a 13.5-point underdog at home to the Steelers. No surprise there. The league's only undefeated team. They are rolling. Listen to this. This is only the second time in the Super Bowl era. For context, Super Bowl 55 will be paid in February. Super Bowl 55. It's only the second time in the Super Bowl era Dallas has been a double-digit home underdog. They were a 14.5-point dog to the Niners in 1989, the first year Jerry bought the team.
So let me say this, Key. His comments, it was frankly more than he could handle. I don't know what you could have expected for somebody to come in under these circumstances. Here's what I expected. I expected Dallas not to embarrass themselves. That should be the bar for the Dallas Cowboys moving forward. Do not embarrass yourselves. Look, Ezekiel Elliott struggling. Their defense leaks like a sieve. Even against the hapless Eagles, that's the point. And now he faces a competent team, and the Steelers team who is 7-0. You're talking about bringing in 2 guys who have a combined snaps of 9 career NFL passes. 9 career NFL passes. That's what you're going to do. So, look, just don't embarrass yourselves if you're the Cowboys. As a Cowboys fan, that's all you can ask.
Well, look, here's what I would say. When you get down to the third quarterback, you don't have a fighting chance anyway.
Exactly.
I mean, it's pretty much over with. When you start to play your third quarterback in a National Football League, your days are numbered as a team and an organization for that season. I think when you look at it, they had a chance to address the quarterback issue if they felt that was necessary. Then they thought Andy Dalton would be back. He figured, okay, concussion protocol, he'll miss some time, he'll be back. Ben DiNucci will be able to come in and kind of just ride the ship for at least a week. And then now you have the COVID situation that's come up now with Andy Dalton, where he's now placed in the COVID IR. So you don't have anything else to do with it. You go on the streets and pick up a quarterback. You might as well play the guys that you have because they're the ones who know the system. They're the ones who were with you during training camp throughout the regular season. Now you bring in somebody else. You got to retrain their brain all over again to get them to understand the system. You're in the same place that you were before you brought them in.
What's interesting is Jay mentioned the two guys, Garrett Gilbert and Cooper Rush, who have those 9 combined passes. Let's remember, Garrett Gilbert is 29 years old. So if you've been scuffling for this long, trying to make a squad nearing the age of 30, as Key says, it tells you where you are. He did play collegiately at Texas and then transferred to Southern Methodist. So the Cowboys regional scouts at least like something about him because they put their eyes on him. But Jay, on the other side of the coin, not all backups are created equal. Last year, when Ben Roethlisberger had the arm injury, Mike Tomlin had to go with Duck Hodges, and he had to go with Mason Rudolph. Not exactly Garrett Gilbert and Cooper Rush, but certainly a little bit better with regards to experience. Rudolph has started numerous games. And you might recall with those two guys who elicited confidence in absolutely nobody, they went to the final Sunday of the regular season. They needed a little bit of help. But if they would have won and gotten help, they got one scenario, didn't get the other, they would have made the postseason. And if there were 7 teams last year, like they're going to be this year, they would have made the playoffs with those 2 dudes. So sometimes it's the dudes you have, but Tomlin clearly was able to coach up those guys, and they aren't exactly guys that are fighting for spots on other rosters.
Yeah, but the Steelers from last year and the Cowboys from this year are 2 completely different teams. I mean, the Steelers, yes, Mason Rudolph and company were somewhat serviceable, but they won based upon their defense. You look at the Cowboys, I mean, look, we've been having discussions from the beginning of the season about their defense, whether Mike Nolan should actually be head of the DC or not. I mean, defensive coordinator, like their defense is atrocious. So if your defense is atrocious, you've lost your quarterback who's the heart and soul of your team. You've then lost your backup quarterback. Now you're on to third stringers and you got DiNucci out there still getting his head knocked off. We can't compare them to the Steelers of last year.
No, it's a different situation, different head coach. Mike Tomlin, top 4 head coach in the National Football League. So when you look at it,
ooh, a little jab at Mike McCarthy there.
No, it's not a jab. It's facts. The factual
better personnel though too defensively.
They're a better football team. So what you see from Pittsburgh, you will not see from Dallas. Period.
Agreed.
Fair enough. So we'll see what happens. Again, those two meeting Sunday, the Pittsburgh Steelers trying to remain the NFL's only unbeaten team. We will see what happens.
I think they're safe.
This week?
No, I think they're safe. Don't worry about them. They'll be 8-0.
But they are number 2. They're number 2 on Key's real rankings, correct? Key?
I don't remember. When did we do that?
We did it yesterday.
I don't remember.
I think you had the Chiefs number 1. Which they should be. I'm just asking.
I don't know. I don't remember. People should go look it up.
You can find the podcast anywhere you get podcasts if you want to do it the hard way. Keyshawn, J. Will, and Zubin, presented by Progressive Insurance. All of our guests this morning will join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. And we want to remind you to be a part of the Keyshawn, J. Will, and Zubin Nation on the Dr. Pepper Twitter feed, ESPN Nation, presented by Dr. Pepper. It's official. College football's back, and so is your favorite Dr. Pepper-loving college football town, Fansville. Head to a store near you to treat your inner college football fan to an ice-cold 20-ounce Dr. Pepper today. Still to come, the night the Packers didn't draft a wide receiver and pick Jordan Love, Aaron Rodgers went off. The day of the deadline, when the Packers didn't add a wide receiver, Aaron Rodgers went off. You'll hear it next on Keyshawn, J. Will, and Zubin.
If you have Aaron Rodgers, you make the playoffs every year.